Hello everyone, welcome to Calculus 1 for Summer B 2020. My name is Robert Schaller. I'll be your instructor for this course, and this video is simply to help you guys get set up with the course, understand what your responsibilities are in the course, and how everything's going to operate. This course was originally designed to be a face-to-face course, but due to the situation with the world, everything's online for the remainder of the summer. So before we even get into the nitty-gritty, looking at the syllabus and how exams work and stuff like that, before we even get to that, I just want to take a moment to mention that this course is going to be challenging. There is no way around it. And I'm not making it hard just for the sake of making it hard. I mean, you are doing 16 weeks of rigorous calculus in only 6. So right off the bat there, that is a ton. And the other component is it's online, not face-to-face. So there aren't 30 warm bodies in the room discussing topics and trying to figure this stuff out. You're staring at a computer screen with me talking at a camera. So it's going to be very difficult. I love math, and I've taken some Summer A, Summer B math courses, and oh boy, it hurts. It feels like you just sprinted through an entire marathon at full speed. You're going to be sore in the end, and of course, trying to just power through it in 6 weeks, you're not going to get the best retention, right? Because you're not taking the time to really digest the material and understand it. You're more just like, let's go, let's get through this. I got another section I got to get done. Oh no, now I got to do the next section. The test is tomorrow. It goes by so quickly that you don't have time to reflect and think about some of the concepts we covered, which is necessary in calculus because calculus is one of those classes that makes you think in ways you haven't thought before. Algebra is very straightforward. Here's a formula, just use it, right? Here's a hammer, hit things with your hammer. Whereas calculus, you really need to take the time and think about things and digest the material. So fair warning, I just want to put that out there in front of everything else. This class is not going to be easy. It may be a little fun, but it probably won't be a lot of fun. It's going to be difficult to really, like I said, power through 16 weeks of calculus in only 6 weeks, especially since it's online. It's all on you. So keep that in mind. Okay. Warnings out there. If you have even the slightest bit of feeling of, I don't think I can do this in 6 weeks, I think this might be too much for me, please get out now. Wait till fall. We'll have some more sections in the fall, hopefully a face-to-face section. If not, at least it'll be 16 weeks instead of 6 weeks. It'll be easier in the fall simply because of you'll have the time to breathe. Whereas here, the next 6 weeks you're not. You're just going to be doing math all day, every day. Okay, out of the way, let's look at some stuff. Right now, the way I have the course set up in Canvas is the syllabus is there. It will always be there for you to reference. My video lectures, you're watching this orientation right now. 2.1 is already uploaded, and this is where I'll upload all the different sections that we cover. And it's just me in front of my whiteboard at home explaining the concepts and doing some problems. So, I wanted to give you, basically as close to the regular lectures that I might do in a classroom, but without that interaction and that immediate feedback. Just know that it's going to be a little tougher. You can always pause and rewind a video, but you can't raise your hand and say, "Hey, video, how did you get 5?" So at that point, it becomes a little bit more disconnected. So like I said, again, if you're not comfortable with that, try and watch the first video and then do a couple problems, see how it goes for you. But if you feel even the slightest bit of nervousness, or I don't think I'll do very well in this course over 6 weeks, I think that's too much. Like I said, get out now. All right, so let's look at the syllabus first of all, and I'm not going to go through the entire thing. I'll let you guys browse through it. I'll just hit the key points here. Let me open it up so it looks a little nicer here. So that is me, Robert Schaller. This is my office on the Bradenton campus, although everything's online, so I really don't have a need to go to my office. I may still pop in once in a while just to focus, get some work done. If you need to see me, just email me. Let me know. We could set something up on campus if you need to, or we could do like a virtual office hour if you need to. That's my office phone. That is my email. Don't forget the 1. It's schaller1@scf.edu. Or you can just email me in Canvas. If you look over here, there's a little thing, inbox, and then click on the course, click on instructor, and you can email me either through Canvas or through your SCF student email. Okay, course description. I'm just gonna kind of like browse through all this stuff. This is Calculus 1 with analytic geometry. It is the first in a sequence of Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3. It is a 4-credit course, not a 3-credit course like you've probably been used to with most of your math courses. Yes, so it's 4 credits. So it's obviously a little more involved, and it's definitely more rigorous. We will rely heavily on a lot of theorems and definitions. So just make sure that you really need this course. If you don't need this course, you just need like a survey of calc or business calc, then this is going to be overkill. But if you are going to be an engineer or a math major or physics major, chemistry, something like that, you're probably in the right spot. You'll need at least Calc 1, maybe even the rest of the sequence. So, just make sure you're in the right calculus class. If you're transferring to another university, like I'm going to pick on USF, and you're going to be a biology major, they have specific calculuses for biology majors. Like I think it's actually called Calculus for biology majors, which may be a little more focused on that specific biology realm, whereas this is just pure math. We are just here's a definition. Let's use it to build this theorem. Let's prove this theorem. Now let's solve a bunch of problems from all over the world. If you feel like this class might be overkill, then again, get out now while you still can. But this supersedes all other calculus classes. So if you took a survey of calculus, but you needed this calculus, I'll just call it the real calculus, I guess. You take the real calculus, it supersedes the other calculus. You now have real calculus under your belt. Or if you take this Calculus 1 and then you transfer to USF to be a biology major, they can't tell you, oh, you need to take biology calculus. You can say, no, I took the real calculus, the one that supersedes the biology calculus. It's more math than your calculus. But that said, just double check. Right? Double check, make sure that this is the right class for you. Prereqs, you've already taken pre-calc and you've already taken trigonometry. I am going to assume that your knowledge of pre-calculus and your knowledge of trigonometry is solid. Nowhere in my lecture videos am I going to spend time reviewing trig. You just passed trig, or at least you should have passed trig, or test scores put you into calculus, which means you know trig. I can't teach you old stuff. I've only got a limited amount of time to teach you the new stuff. So when I start, doing some problems and you see me pulling, sine of 60 degrees, cosine pi over 2, and you see me start pulling these things out of thin air, it's because you should know them and you've already been tested on them and have shown successful completion. One of the biggest things that students say to me when they take Calc 1 is, oh man, my trig sucks, or oh, I wish I paid better attention in trig. If your trigonometry is weak, it is going to show, and it's going to show pretty quickly. So keep that in mind. If you're someone who is scraped by trig, I don't mean to pick on trig. Usually, generally, pre-calculus sits a little bit better with people. But calculus 1 is all about being mathematically mature. You don't get to sit there and go, I forgot that stuff. Well, then you should not be here, right? You're not taking calculus so that you can forget trig. You need to go back and freshen up on that trig, or else it's really going to hurt you, especially on the exams and stuff. You're just going to lose lots of points because, just because you're on shaky ground with your trig. And pre-calc as well. Obviously, we use those concepts as well. But again, I generally get the vibe that people are a little more comfortable with their algebra than they are with their trig. So this is the textbook. Basically, I give you everything that you need. This is it's a custom edition. So Dr. Joni Pernod and Altai Otskiner, they actually teach at SCF. And they made like their own custom edition, kind of piggybacking off the Stewart book. It comes in just like a 3-ring binder, just loose pages. I went and got a nice 3-ring binder and broke it up into Calc 1, Calc 2, Calc 3. If you are going to, again, be an engineer or something like that, get the book, or at least maybe get the last edition. This is the 8th. You could get by with the 7th edition. Get a good calc book because you're going to want something to reference. 2 years from now, you're taking a thermodynamics course and you're going to need to go back to a calc book and start referencing some stuff. Get a good calc book. It'll definitely help you. But that said, I provide you with the study guides and I provide you with the exams. So you just solve those problems and turn them back to me, and there's your grade. There are suggested homeworks, but I don't grade homework. So, keep that in mind. In trig or in pre-calc, there was like math lab homework, or, like maybe not weekly, but like kind of like every 2 to 3 weeks, I would do like a homework assignment in trig. I'm not doing that in Calc 1. Just because it's a little too hand-holdy by saying, hey, now you need to practice some problems. No, you need to practice problems. This is calculus. If you're not solving problems, you're not going to fare very well, especially when it comes to tests. So the suggested homework problems are, that's all on you. I'm not going to sit there and grade your homework. I'll grade your study guide because that counts. I'll grade your exams. Those count. I'll grade your final. That counts. But homework is for you. At home, you should be practicing problems. And a good amount of problems is like every other odd, or if you're struggling with a section, every odd problem, just to get a little more practice in. Let's see, calculator. I like the TI-84 if you can really spring for the one with the color screen and the rechargeable battery. That thing is awesome. I have calculators that cost 3 times as much as this one. I know I'm a nerd. But I still always default to this one just because it does everything and it doesn't have too many bells and whistles. If, again, you're taking Calc 2, Calc 3, differential equations after this, you're going to want a good calculator. Something that can graph. Man, if you can see the graphs, you're halfway there. So, if you don't already have like an 83 or an 84, I recommend spring for the color screen one. It's really, really nice. Student Solutions Manual, again, you probably save some money there. Don't bother with it. It's not required or anything. And yeah, it's 2020. Lots of these problems can just be found online. Although I will say this, I have seen some students Google some things, and I have Googled some things and have been shocked and appalled at what is out there on the internet. Just because it's on Google does not mean it's correct. I have seen completely blatantly wrong solutions, and I mean butchered solutions where they did things they were not allowed to do and then got super lucky and stumbled on the right answer. So do be careful. If you want to look at a problem and try and find a solution, it's probably on the internet somewhere. Quick search will probably get you there. But, again, be very skeptical about what you find on the internet. Let's see. Tests. So there's 4 tests and then a final exam at the end. The final exam is comprehensive, covers everything. The 4 section or chapter exams are a little more self-contained. And 4 tests and a final. So we'll be having an exam about every week to week and a half-ish. So again, it goes really, really quickly. No makeup tests. I'm not messing with that. If you miss a test, you miss a test. It's a 0. So, and I'll explain exams later when we get to the bottom of the syllabus where the weekly schedule is. Grade of 60% or higher must be earned on the final, or else the only grade I can give you is a D. And it happens, and I hate when it happens. Someone has a overall score of 76%, but they did okay on their exams and they did their study guides, but then they bombed the final. They got like a 53 on the final, but it wasn't enough to drag them down to a D. It looks like they still have a C. Well, you got a 53% on the final. I can't give you the C. The highest I can give you is the D. So, take that seriously. Some people, they're so exhausted by the end of the course that they just give up, a couple days before the final exam, and it really kills them, right? Because then you just spent, 5.5, 6 weeks to pass calculus, and you drop the ball at the very last minute. So keep that in mind that you can totally fail the regular exams, but you cannot fail that final exam. You have to pass that. And the only reason we have that is because we can only assume that you're going on to take Calculus 2. And if you can't retain 60% of Calculus 1, you're never going to survive Calculus 2. If all you can retain is 50% of Calculus 1, you've studied half of Calculus 1. There's no way you're going to survive Calculus 2. So it's nipping that problem in the bud early. Again, late work. I don't mess with late work. If you miss a study guide, you miss a study guide. Sorry. Again, Calculus 1, maturity, right? We want mathematical maturity at this point. This is a Gordon Rule course, meaning it'll count for college credit. Attendance, well, we're not in class, so I'm not going to really care about attendance. No show, if you're watching this video and watching the lecture videos, I can't no show you. The electronics policy, just make sure, again, we're not in the classroom, so who's to say that you don't have your cell phone next to you while you're doing homework? Obviously, again, bad habit, but just make sure you have a good, reliable internet connection. That's one thing. When classes go online, students will use that excuse of, oh, my internet went down on Friday night, so I couldn't finish my homework. Can you reopen it for me? You had all week, right? Why did you wait till Friday at 11:45 p.m. to get done what needed to be done by midnight? So just make sure you have some good, reliable internet so that, if something does happen, have a backup. If it's Monday and your internet's been down all day or something, or your router broke, get your butt to Starbucks or find a library, something to, get some internet. SCF has internet available on campus. I don't quote me on this, but I do still believe you're not allowed in the building, but you can pull up in the parking lot and sit in your car and do it that way. Or I believe you're allowed on campus. It just as long as you're not collecting all in one spot or anything like that. Misconduct, I usually don't have an issue with. Technical support, we're not really using any of these software things, so probably not going to need that. Recording device, well, I'm recording my own self and putting it on the internet, so I guess that's taken care of. Email, you do need to email me with your official student email. If you email me from a Gmail account, I am not allowed to respond to those because I don't know that that's you. It has to be from your student email, your official student email or through Canvas. I know it's you if it's through Canvas. Withdraw, I'll let you guys know when the withdraw deadline gets a little closer. That's your last chance to get out and not have it hurt your GPA. After the withdrawal deadline, I have to give you some sort of letter grade that will affect your GPA. So I'll make an announcement in Canvas when that date gets a little closer. Generally speaking, if you're like right on the edge of like a C or a D, I default to just telling people just stick with it, get that C and get out, right? You don't want to do this again for another, 6 or 16 weeks in the fall. Just pass it and get out. But if it's one of those things where it's like, hey, I don't think I'm going to be able to save this, make sure you get out before that withdrawal deadline. That way it doesn't hurt your GPA. Was it faculty withdrawal? That's me. There's no attendance or anything like that. So as long as you're taking the exams and you make it through to the final, there's no reason for me to withdraw you. Plagiarism, that's just cheating. We call it cheating in the math world. It is plagiarism. You're stealing someone else's idea and claiming it as your own work. And this goes for, again, exams. If you're just Googling all the answers, I know because I can do that too. And I can see exactly where you copied from. So don't do that. Also, if, maybe you and your friend are both in this course at the same time, we'll get together and we'll solve all the exam questions together. And then I start looking at both exams and I go, wow, these are shockingly similar. Just don't mess with it. It's not worth it. First time's a slap on the wrist. And I say, don't do that. Second time, I'll go to the department chair and say, hey, look, this student is, this is the second time I've caught this student cheating. Third time, usually the dean just says, you're out. Goodbye. Just don't mess with it, right? DRC is very, very helpful if you're someone who needs extra time or you need some sort of recording device or something like that. The DRC is very helpful, and everything has to go through them. So if you email me and say, hey, can I have an extra hour to take my test? Sorry, I would have to do that for everybody to be fair. I can't be unfair to everyone else just because you want an extra hour. But if you go to the DRC and the DRC then tells me, hey, this student qualifies for an extra time and a half or double time on their exams, then I have to implement that for you. So it's got to go through them first. Non-discrimination, something I haven't ever had a problem with. If I say or do something that rubs you the wrong way, by all means, let me hear it. I'll correct my behavior. Religious observances, again, since we're not really in the classroom, I don't really see this being a problem. But if there is, a time where you say, hey, I can't do math for the next, 2 days because of my religious holiday or whatever, I can make adjustments for you. Department chair. So our department chair is Kim Gieslin, but Stephanie Cook is what is now known as the assistant dean. Since it's summertime, technically the department chair is off because there are only 9 months, fall and spring. So you would have to go to Stephanie Cook, who is year-round. She is the actual assistant dean. So maybe actually what I'll do, I might tweak this. I might just take her name, both Angelique's name off there as well, and I'll just put Stephanie Cook's name on there. Not that anyone's probably ever going to need that. Okay. I know, very long-winded. I apologize. We're almost through it. Trust me, it's better to try and answer as many questions here and now rather than wait till later. So this last page is probably the most important. If you really do need to print something, print this last page because it covers everything as far as what I like to call the pacing schedule of what we're going to be doing. So this summer B is really weird. You get a 1-day week on this Thursday. Why they did that, how they managed to do that, I still don't know. But it's weird. We get this like 1-day Thursday, and then the course really, picks up every week after that. So start by looking at section 2.1. And then I'll probably, even before the weekend's over, have most of Chapter 2 videos up and running. So that next week, Monday, you can really, start hitting the ground running. The way I set it up was so that the exams will all be posted on Monday. So you see all these exams are like at the beginning of the week. This is nice because you get a little couple days to study for the final exam. Except the final exam, that's going to be posted on Thursday at noon, and the solutions are due by midnight that Thursday, August 6th. And keep in mind, August 6th is going to creep up on us very, very quickly. 6 weeks is not a long time, or well, I guess technically 7-ish, really. 7 weeks is not a long time, so it'll be here very quickly. But that first exam won't be, obviously not this Thursday, but not the week following that. That'll be time for you to just digest Chapter 2. But then in that week 3 on that Monday at noon, I'll post exam 1. Now, realistically, I'll probably post it a little bit sooner. That way you guys maybe have a little bit more time to deal with it. But the way I wanted it to work was, similar, like I said, with the final exam. I posted at noon, and it's due by midnight. So I'm giving you a 12-hour window to just sit down and take the test for an hour, maybe an hour and 15, hour and 20 minutes. It shouldn't be that much longer. I don't like to make very long tests. Again, if you've had me before, you know this. 10 questions in and out, right? 10 points apiece, boom, done. So find yourself a time to just sit down and digest that material. The week leading up to the week of the exam. So, like for instance, I would be studying all of Chapter 2, even well into that weekend. After Thursday, Friday the 3rd, and then Saturday's 4th of July. I guess you could take a day off if you want to, but then maybe even Sunday, saying, "Oh, I got an exam that's going to be posted on Monday the 6th." So Sunday, I'm going to sit down for like 2 hours, 3 hours, and just study. Not all at once. I'm not saying study for 3 hours straight. That's a bad habit to do. You want to study for an hour, take a half an hour break, study for an hour, take a half-hour break, study for an hour. Break it up. That way, you're not just trying to cram it all in at once. You're getting a good bit of information and then letting your brain breathe, and then getting another good bit of information and letting your brain breathe. The way the exams work, and when I post the exam, it'll be an announcement that I make in Canvas, and it'll also be right there on the top of the exam. This exam is due Monday, July 6th at midnight, either posted in the Dropbox or emailed to me directly. So you'll know as soon as I post the exam as well. But again, this is probably the most important page. So I would say if you want to print something, just printing this page will be pretty good. These are all the suggested homeworks. You do not have to do these. And I post these on my whiteboard when I do the lecture. You'll see in the top right-hand corner, I say 1 through 9, odd. 1 through 45, odd. That's all on you. If you feel like you do number 1, number 2, and number 3 and go, I got this. Look at number 7, look at number 8, look at number 9. Make sure you really do got it, because usually question 1 is the easiest question. But you don't have to do them all. You don't have to turn them in. Those are strictly for your benefit. You know you need to be able to solve problems like those problems. And then I say this once, and then I never say it again, but now I'm going on video record, so I guess I'll say it once, and it will always be said. When I create an exam, when I want to make an exam, these are the problems that I go for. I look at these odd-numbered and even-numbered problems, but I look at these problems from the actual textbook, and I just look around and I go, I need a problem from 2.2. Ooh, I like number 37. I'm just going to put number 37 on the exam. If you did the homework, which is a lot if you do it all. Obviously, I'm not trying to hide that fact. But if you do all the homework, then you've already taken the exam. You've already solved my exam questions because they're buried in there. So, I'm not saying you have to do all of these, and you definitely don't have to turn them in because your grade is only for study guides and exams. So I would say, practice as many of these as you can. Watch the video lecture and then go to these problems and start practicing. And you should be good as long as you get into a good routine and you're doing a bunch of problems. Then you should be all right. Don't rely on just the study guides because the study guide might only have 10 questions on it, and 10 questions for an entire chapter 2. That's not going to cover enough, right? You might come to that exam 1 and find a problem that I just took out of one of these sections that may or may not have been on the study guide. Maybe it's just a little bit different. I can't give away everything for free, right? So syllabus, good. Again, check the announcements. Your grades will be updated, as you take exams and hand in study guides. Video lectures will all be here. Anything else that you may have questions on, don't hesitate to email me and let me know. I'll, typically within like a 24-hour, maybe I'll say like 24 to 48-hour window, I'll be answering emails and stuff. I've got 2 other courses, Summer B, and of course I'll be, making the video lectures on my whiteboard and stuff, hopefully on like a daily basis. So I'll be checking my email very often. Keep in mind though, sometimes answering mathematical questions over email can be a little tricky. So I'm still kind of game planning here, and I'll definitely have something figured out by Monday of next week. I'm kind of game planning doing like a live problem solving session. We'll have to kind of figure out what kind of times might work. But basically, where you can go into Canvas and you can do basically like a Google Hangout or a Zoom meeting. You can just kind of log in and ask some questions, and I could be standing right in front of my whiteboard and answering questions for you. I'm still brainstorming, so we'll see how that all pans out. But in the meantime, sorry for the long video. I just wanted to make sure I tried to hit everything. If I had to summarize it all, 6 weeks is too fast. Don't do it unless you really, really, really want to do it. It's all online, so make sure that you come up with some sort of structure that works for you. Watch these videos as they're posted. Try and do a little bit each day rather than wait and do it all, 5 days from now. It's going to move very, very quickly, so you don't want to fall behind. Keep an eye out on the announcements, and basically the main thing is going to be just watching a lot of videos that I post and practicing a lot of those suggested homework problems to make sure that it is sticking, it is actually being retained. And then that first exam is going to be the real test. I don't mean to do a play on words there, but your first test is going to be, can I pass that first exam? Because that first exam is the easiest. And then obviously as the concepts build, it just gets a little harder from there. So yeah, let me know if you have any questions. And best of luck, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer.